Okay, so why don't I start? I think we have almost everyone now. So hi everyone. Welcome to IBSA's Professional Development Speaker Series Day 1, where we will have a resume and LinkedIn profile workshop. Um, we here are very grateful that you guys decided to have the time to register for our event. This is like our very first professional development event. And on behalf of IBSA, I would like to say that we made this event just for you guys in order to make everyone more familiar with applications for clubs, for jobs, for internships in university. And we just want to get you guys on track and also to encourage everyone to like maximize opportunities at UCLA or in other schools if you are not from UCLA. And also, this event hopefully will be the start of a professional networking within the Indonesians at UCLA. So also, we would like to thank our guest speaker, Richard. If you can unmute yourself and say hi to everyone.
Hi guys, thank you so much to IBSA for having me. And yeah,
Thank you,
I'm
Richard.
excited to share.
Okay, thank you so much for deciding to share to all of us. There are 30 people here wanting to like learn so much from you, and I guess I will pass on to today's moderator, which is my friend Daphne, who is the Director of Public Relations, and she will start with sharing who is our guest speaker and his achievements. So go ahead, Daphne.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daphne, and I'm the Director of Media and Public Relations. Today, I'll be your host. And our honored guest today is our own UCLA alumni, Richard Kusuma. Richard here has a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and a minor in Entrepreneurship. As you all know, it's recruiting season, and now is the perfect time to prepare your resume yourself this summer. Richard here will talk about more of his experiences and a wide variety of what he has done, also to help you guys work on your LinkedIn resume and your LinkedIn page. All of that he'll be going through today. He's prepared his own slides, and we're very, very grateful to have him. He's our honored guest today. We would also like to talk about some of his achievements before. So Richard here started out at DVC College, and he had multiple positions back in 2016 and 2017 before he held any professional internship positions. He was an event organizer at his own Indonesian club at his community college, and he was also a marketing VP in his finance club. Then later on, he got more into the professional realm as he decided to become a technology consulting intern at Accenture around June 2018. Later on in his junior and senior year, he was able to secure 3 more internships and become an international student ambassador for UCLA itself. So some of the internships in that years include Slick Partners interns and TestMax business development intern. I know many of you here are business econs majors or econs majors, so you may have lots to hear about what he has to say, and hopefully you guys can also take so much of this experience itself. Don't forget that we're also having in a Q&A at the end of this session, so if you guys have anything you want to say, just type it in the chat and we'll all address it at the end of this meeting. With that being said, before we start, we would really love to have a group picture, so if you guys could turn on your video, and we'll take a picture before Richard starts sharing his screen and his slides for us. Don't be shy, you guys. Everybody else is sharing their video.
Yuk, the others yuk. Baru satu orang nih yang nyalain kamera.
Yuk, semua yuk.
Kayaknya banyak yang bangun tidur ya nih.
Come on, Julius.
Dan malu-malu guys.
Don't worry, it's only for us. We're like not gonna share it with like third party. We're not selling your data to China or anything. So don't be shy and please turn on your videos.
It's okay, guys. It's just for documentary purposes.
Halo. Okay. Okay, we got one more. Hello. If this is everyone, I'll go ahead and take a picture. So, okay, on three, yeah, guys. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, hold on, one more, because there's 2 pages. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, thank you, everyone.
And that concludes our pictures. So now if Richard could share his slides, I'd be happy to pass it on to you.
Okay. Can you guys see my slides right now?
Yes.
Yes? No? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, IBSA asked me to actually present about perfecting the resume. So I compiled some of the resume do's and resume don'ts. Actually, I got all the materials from One Salting. So actually, if you guys are trying to make a resume, yang pertama itu harus consistent alignment and format. So making sure that our resume is consistent in structure of experiences, positions, locations, timetables. Jadi kalau bisa harus urutan dari yang paling early sampai yang paling the most recent experience. Terus the second one would be use action verbs. So the first word in our experiences should be action verbs, like for example, manage or collaborated or created. So that's the second one. And then the third one, and I would say the most important one, is show impacts and achievement. So our structure should consist of what we did as well as what impact that we make. So for example, we can say something like manage a team of 15, and then we actually help the team in making more efficient structure or more efficient streamline, something like that. And then the fourth one would be include numbers. So try to quantify the impacts that can show achievements and exceeding goals. I just feel like talking to recruiters, most of them told me that by showing the numbers, it really shows us that we're a good candidate and we can actually provide like a proof that we're actually making the impacts. And then also, if applicable, try to tailor the experiences towards the position. So for example, if the job is for operations position, and if the job needs SQL experience or Excel experience, be sure to exemplify those in our bullet points. And later on, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. And then the second part would be what not to do for our resume. So sometimes people still don't include any skills in the bullet points, and also people don't include their leadership experience. Padahal kalau misalkan kalian punya pengalaman di any clubs like IBSA, for example, it will be really good to put it on our resume besides internship experience. And then also resume check only by one person. If you guys can have multiple people, but not too many, to actually check the resume, that will be great to provide some insights, especially kalau kalian bisa minta orang-orang yang ada di role yang kalian pengen. Misalkan for me, myself, I'm looking to break through the tech industry and looking to break through for sales development or marketing roles. So I would ask people who are already in the positions right now to check my resume and see what things that can be improved to actually attract more recruiters. And then also don't show complete address. Jadi nggak perlu sampai the whole apartment number dan segala macam. Maybe just put something like our city, like LA or Jakarta or San Francisco, something like that. That's more than enough. And then out of order positions. Jadi kalau misalkan posisinya juga berantakan, misalkan position saya itu dari gak berurutan, gak in order dari yang paling pertama sampai yang paling akhir, itu juga bikin recruiternya pusing gitu pas actually review the resume gitu. Terus ini contohnya, I can show you guys the link later. I got it from consulting as well. So here's the example of how a good resume should be. So bisa kita lihat di sini kayak ini ada GPA-nya juga. Kalau GPA kalian lumayan tinggi, higher than 3.0, kalian bisa put the GPA on the resume. And then I would say some jobs really require that high GPA to actually make the cut. So for example, based on my experience, if you guys want to go into consulting or finance, I think the GPA cut will be 3.5. Jadi kalau kayak misalkan GPA kalian nggak 3.5, it will be harder for you guys to actually get the interviews, just because they sometimes have that tracking system. So they have like a machine or something that actually eliminates those yang GPA-nya nggak sampai 3.5. And then also kalau kayak misalkan GPA kalian emang kurang bagus, nggak apa-apa buat nggak di-include di resume, tapi offer something that can actually make you guys stand out compared to other candidates gitu. Terus, jadi ini experience, ini leadership experience-nya atau volunteer juga bisa. And then put the skills and any softwares that you guys can do, maybe like Excel or PowerPoint or SQL, any programming language. Terus juga language yang kalian bisa kayak English, Indonesian, Mandarin, you guys can put it here as well. Okay. And then the next one would be the most asked interview questions. So based on my own experience, ini adalah kayak 3 pertanyaan yang paling sering ditanya sama recruiter, especially during the first interview. Tell me about yourself. So I would say highlighting our past experience would be really beneficial, just because the recruiter wants to know more about our past experience and how those experience can actually be related to the current job that we're interviewing right now. Terus juga, why this role? For example, I was often asked a lot of times like, why do you want to do sales? Itu juga penting banget buat siapin story yang benar-benar bisa bikin mereka attracted buat move us further in the process. So I bet you guys have heard about this before. There's a method called STAR method. So if you guys just Google what is STAR method, it's actually situation, task, action, and result format. So it's a technique that used by interviewers to gather all the relevant information about the specific capability that job requires. Jadi kalau bisa kalian udah bikin kayak di Google Docs gitu tentang all the story about yourself that you want to highlight when you're interviewing. So when people ask you about, for example, tell me about the time when you had some failures, or tell me about the time when you had some conflicts with your past coworkers. Jadi kalian udah tahu jawabannya apa, kalian tinggal tailor dikit, nggak perlu sampai yang masih mikir kelamaan buat jawab pertanyaan kayak gitu. Terus the next one would be why this company. So for example, I was interviewing for different tech companies. They often ask, why do you want to choose this company? So my biggest tips would be try to read some of the blog posts and success stories from the customers, and also exciting news about the company beforehand. Just supaya kalian waktu interview kalian bisa mention kalau kalian udah did all the research, and recruiters will really love that if you guys have done all the research. And what I do personally, I actually try to reach out to people on LinkedIn, especially those who have the same or similar roles that I'm applying for. Jadi waktu di interview kalian juga bisa mention kalau kalian udah ngomong sama orang ini atau orang itu yang bikin kalian makin excited about the company, about the work culture, something like that gitu. Terus okay, so this one is just a useful information about how to find participating employers for STEM OPT and sponsorship. So if you guys just type on Google e-verify company employer check, and then here's the link. And if the company is actually listed di listnya mereka, it means that we can actually get that 2 years, that 2 extra years of extension for our STEM OPT. So for example, I was interning at Okta last year, and luckily Okta is registered in e-verify. So it means that they're willing to sponsor. That's the first one. And then they're also more willing to accept international students just because they are a bigger company and they have more resources to actually do so. So they're more familiar with the process and the immigration stuff. But I interned at Strict Bills before. They accept CPT and OPT, but they're not in e-verify. So for me as an econ major, I actually have 3 years of work authorization without any sponsorship for companies that are in e-verify. Tapi karena Strict Bills nggak ada di e-verify, mereka nggak register, it means that Strict Bills nggak bisa support my 2 extra years of extension. Jadi I need to be sponsored if I work there after that one initial year of work authorization gitu. And then the next one would be about LinkedIn profile. What I like about LinkedIn is actually it's not just a job board website, tapi itu kayak social media, just like Instagram and Facebook. And I really like about the idea of having that huge network within my profile, within my timeline. Jadi, what I always do is actually I always send a personalized invite to people. I always introduce myself and give a quick background about who am I, and then also I feel like especially international students, like most Indos, no one really does it. Most people just simply click connect without adding any notes, and people get so many invitations on LinkedIn. So if you guys actually create that personalized invite, you guys can actually stand out compared to other people who just randomly add people on LinkedIn. So here's an example like how to do it. You can just hi and then put your name. And especially right now we are in COVID, the pandemic situation, so we can say something like hope you're staying safe, staying healthy during these times, and then put our name. My name is Richard, a recent grad from UCLA. I saw that you were fine, and then try to find something interesting or something in common. For example, maybe the person also came from the same community college as you, or the person actually went to UCLA, and you can say something like "Go Bruins" or "I would love to learn from a fellow Bruin," and that would make you really, really compelling in the person's eye. Jadi dia kayak lebih mau accept your connection and actually more willing to talk to you on the phone. So the main goal of having that personalized invite is actually to make that network and also to schedule for an informational interview over the phone. Jadi when you have that network, sometimes they can actually help you in the future. They can be your mentor, or they can also help you to refer when you're applying for the company. So here's what I did. I was applying for a position at Twilio. It's a tech company. And I reached out to a person named Daniel, and this is the message that I sent to him. So I realized that he was actually a DVC student as well. So that makes him more interested in talking to me over the phone. And then I would say when you send a personalized invite, the success rate is pretty high. Like people tend to accept your connection and are willing to talk to you. And even if sometimes people accept you, but they don't reply your message, you can actually send another follow-up message and say like, hey, thank you for accepting my connection request. And you can give that questions and ask some questions about maybe their career, maybe about their story, and then later you can schedule for an informational interview. And then during the call for the informational interview, you can say something like this: I would love to get my foot in the door. How do I get a better opportunity for an interview? Or you can try to kayak ini udah lumayan kayak kode keras gitu supaya dia refer. Cuman sometimes kalau dia masih kayak nggak nangkep kodenya, kayak you can just ask. For me, I can just ask like, do you mind referring me for the position? Sometimes people will say yes. Sometimes people will say no. If no, then you can ask the person to actually give you another connections in his or her network, so you can reconnect with the person. Jadi kalau misalkan kayak Daniel yang nggak mau refer, you can ask him like who's the person that I need to contact to get to know more about the role. So you can actually use this message again and then reach out to another person. Terus wait, these are some of the people that you guys need to follow on LinkedIn, I would say. So I learned a lot from these people like Jonathan Javier, and then Jerry Lee, Ako Suabody Agemang, Austin Belchuk, Madeline Mann, Jonathan Teaser, Anessa Ashen, and so many other people. Just because if you have that many network, sometimes banyak job-job yang tadinya kalian nggak nyangka ada, tiba-tiba kayak muncul di timeline kalian. Jadi kalian bisa kayak actually connect to the people. So for example, I'm gonna show you guys. I go to LinkedIn, to my on LinkedIn profile. Terus I actually applied for a job at DocuSign. I haven't seen the job posted up until now, but I actually saw a post from this person named Boris. So he mentioned something about he's hiring someone for his team. So usually hiring manager also posts about the opening in his or her team, something like this. And this is what I like. Please message me directly with any referrals, so I can just message him, send him a personalized invite, and this is what I did. I actually sent him a message, and then he replied, and then basically you just apply directly to the person. Okay. And then final tips, I would say, especially for new students, for new transfer students, maximize all the resources such as joining student clubs, finding internships, make connections. Apalagi UCLA has so many resources, has so many clubs, so be sure to join that. And then also utilize UCLA Career Center, although sometimes they're not very good at it. Tapi sometimes they also provide some like career events or informational interviews, practice, atau enggak kayak kadang info session dari company-company, terutama buat kalian yang mau go to consulting, like you guys want to go into the MBB, the Payne, BCG, McKinsey. Sometimes mereka kerjasama sama UCLA Career Center to actually make that info session. And then also UCLA Career Center, together with Handshake, they provide you guys the perfect the info and timeline about different job deadlines. Jadi make sure if you guys are engaged with their content, jadi kalian kayak tahu kapan deadline-nya. Terus juga UCLA alumni punya program namanya UCLA One to find a mentor. So last year I actually reached out to someone from UCLA One because people who are registered in UCLA One, mereka tuh emang udah pengen, they're willing to help. Jadi mereka lebih mau bales dan mereka emang kayak pengen jadi mentor buat kita. So I actually reached out to a person named Chase Touré. He used to work at Deloitte before, but now he's the sales guy at a tech company named Samsara in the Bay Area. So all of the similarities with me. Jadi kayak kita dulu sama, dia dulu bis econ major, accounting minor. Terus dia juga emang willing to help dan dia sekarang ada di tech sales. Jadi those are the things in common that really makes me want to reach out to him and become his mentee. So I sent him a message di UCLA One, terus dia mau jadi mentor. Jadi kayak up until now still keep in contact. Dia kayak sering banget bantuin buat interview, buat mock interview, buat kenalin juga ke networknya dia. And right now I'm still on the job market. Jadi dia kayak bantuin prefer buat posisi di company-nya. Terus juga bahkan dia kayak bikinin a LinkedIn post to actually help me get a job. Jadi dia bikin kayak gini. Jadi kayak ya lumayan gitu kalau ada someone yang actually believe in you and willing to take a shot buat kita gitu. Terus ini juga kayak ada some helpful links. So I got most of my resources from Consulting Job Board. Jadi ini dari si Jonathan Javier. Dia kayak lumayan bantu banget dan banyak provide resources. Bisa lihat tentang kayak job searching, kayak tentang resume, tentang networking juga, dan dia juga provide banyak template juga kayak gimana caranya reach out ke orang, kayak gimana supaya be confident to reach out to people, walaupun awalnya kayak kita nggak berani, cuman kayak lama-lama kalau udah terbiasa kayak you guys can just kill it gitu. I think that's all for me. If you guys have any questions,
Yes,
I'm
if you
happy to
guys have
answer.
any questions, you can drop it down in the chat, but we already have some few questions lined up. We have this question that's asking, what is the most important information that we should provide in our resume? Do we need to make a specific resume for each company, or it's okay to use the same one for like all companies?
Okay. So in my opinion, kalau bisa tailor each resume for each position, it would be better. For example, my resume right now is tailored for more sales position. Tapi jadi kalau kayak misalkan I'm applying for a finance job, it wouldn't be too relevant for my resume gitu. Jadi kalau kayak misalkan you guys are applying for multiple jobs, make sure to make your resume as relevant as possible to the position. Dan kalau kalian nggak terlalu mager ya, kalau bisa di tailor lagi sih resumenya. Misalkan kayak resume buat marketing position, kalian lebih highlight marketing experience kalian apa, kayak any CRM tools that you guys use before, atau kalau kayak misalkan buat finance, kalian bisa kayak provide something about maybe you guys did some financial modeling back in your internship, itu bisa di-highlight juga gitu. Oh, Michelle Huang nanya soal consulting resources. I'm actually copying the link and pasting it to the group chat. Oops. There you go.
There was another question that asked, like, if you're having a coffee chat with a potential employer or like somebody that you want a referral from, like what topic do you think needs to be discussed in that interview, and what do you think is like most important to be discussed during that time?
Most important to be discussed. I've actually prepared some questions in mind. Jadi I always ask some questions about how did you come to work at this company? How did you actually work in the tech industry? So something like that. Terus juga biasa I ask about misalkan kayak what about finance do you find most fulfilling? Terus what's the most rewarding part of your job right now? Tapi juga what's the frustrating part? Terus ya biasa kayak gitu sih, kayak try to find something in common biasanya supaya kayak conversationnya kayak lebih flow biar gak awkward. Jadi kalau dia udah kayak like our personality, biasanya mereka kayak lebih mau buat refer kita gitu. Gitu sih.
Right, that's definitely true. Like you have to find something in common so they'll be more open to giving you a referral. But like you mentioned before, like a lot of people are like afraid of reaching out because they have a fear of like rejection, or they're like what you said before, like people might refuse you, people might say no. Like what advice do you have for people like that? Like people who are like too scared to make the first move or too scared to be like out there.
That's a great question. First, I was so afraid to reach out to people just because I think that my English is not that good. Terus dulu I juga mikir kalau kayak bakal di reject sama people atau orang cuma nge-read doang our message kita. Jadi I was so afraid of that. Tapi kayak if you're able to make that first move, lama-lama kayak kebiasa sih. Like you're getting used to it. Udah kayak bodo amat kalau di reject, bodo amat kalau di read. Just move on gitu. Jadi kayak kalau misalkan nggak dibalas sama satu orang, ya cari aja orang lain gitu. Kayak banyak banget orang yang kita nggak nyangka out there, terutama kayak di LinkedIn atau kayak misalkan yang UCLA alumni dulu, yang actually benar-benar mau bantu kita gitu. Kayak they're really willing to help us, and jangan apa ya, jangan nggak pede sama our background sih. Kayak sometimes kita mikir kayak kita cuma international student, kayak what do we have to offer gitu. Padahal sebenarnya kayak kita banyak banget yang kita bisa offer. Kayak kita bisa bilang kalau background kita sebagai international student can actually help us in, like handling different people with different backgrounds, different characteristics, different culture. Jadi kayak terus juga misalkan kayak being kayak mandiri kayak di negara orang itu juga kayak bisa jadi kayak something value added for our candidacy when we're applying for jobs juga gitu. Jadi kayak be confident aja sih, sama kayak kalau misalkan ditolak ya udah move on aja gitu.
Right. So like what you're saying is definitely like if people reject you, if people read it and leave it, there's like so many more other opportunities that we as international students can offer. And I think that's like a great piece of advice. Thank you so much for that. We also have a question from Davina over here. She asked, do they value skills or experiences more, do you think? When people are looking to hire somebody, which one do you think they value more? Skills, like the skills that you've built up, or the experiences that you've had?
I would say dua-duanya penting sih, kayak skill sama experience. Kalau bisa dapat dua-duanya, kayak that would be better gitu. Kayak for me right now, all my internship experience are relevant to the jobs that I'm applying. Tapi sometimes when I'm applying for jobs, like I made till the final round, tapi akhirnya mereka kayak pilih orang yang lebih punya banyak skills, especially COVID. Jadi kayak banyak company yang kayak tend to hire yang orang-orang yang udah punya benar-benar direct sales experience, maka jadi penting juga gitu. Jadi kayak I would say dua-duanya penting, tapi kalau kayak you guys say misalkan kayak skill saya masih kurang, sekarang kayak banyak banget kayak online resources, online courses kayak from Udemy atau from LinkedIn Learning atau kayak dari Coursera juga kayak bisa bantu brush up those skills, atau kayak you can make your own project juga gitu to highlight all the skills. Jadi kayak to actually make you guys stand out when you guys are applying for jobs. Jadi kayak from the skills you guys can actually make the experience juga gitu.
Okay, so like in a sense we can use our skills to make more experiences for ourselves, even though people don't like necessarily want to give us like professional experience like that. So we can make our own experiences and join courses like that. Great, that's great. So this will like be super helpful for somebody who already knows like what field they're looking for, like what they want to do. But what kind of advice do you have for like people that are still unsure of their career path? They're not really sure what they want to do. Like, how do you give advice to those people?
Okay. So I wasn't sure either. Jadi kayak waktu tahun lalu when I first arrived to UCLA, tiba-tiba ada kayak info session dari Bain. I came to the event, terus kayak oh keren banget kayak kerja di consulting. And also I had some background in consulting as well. Jadi I had some Accenture internship experience. So I applied for Bain and for BCG. And I didn't get the Bain one, but I actually flew to Chicago for BCG for the internship position. Terus nggak dapet gitu. Padahal waktu itu kayak udah latihan casing tiap hari sama Ilin juga. Terus jadi tetap nggak dapet. I would say kalau masih belum tahu like what to do for your career, just try everything. That's like you don't know what you're gonna end up liking kalau kayak kita nggak coba kan. Jadi kayak if you try everything dan akhirnya kayak ada something yang really make you stick around, then you're finding your passion gitu. Jadi kayak for example I did consulting juga waktu Accenture dulu di Jakarta office. Terus I feel like gue nggak terlalu suka nih sama consulting gitu, karena kayak misalkan itu project based banget, terus udah gitu misalkan you just gonna stick around with your coworkers maybe for 6 months or 1 year depending on the project timeline. Terus kayak I didn't really like that experience, jadi kayak I realized that okay maybe consulting is not for me gitu. Terus kayak why I don't want to go into finance or banking juga karena kayak from taking all the classes, the Econ 106 classes di UCLA, I feel like finance is not for me juga gitu. Jadi kayak emang gak gitu kayak klik aja gitu. Jadi I would say try everything sih. Misalkan kayak try different classes, joining different student clubs, buat lihat kayak what's your true passion.
So you found out how you like to do things by joining multiple multiple things, signing up for different things, and like applying for those internships that you said and stuff like that. So like, for example, joining an event like this, trying to figure out like trying to figure out more information about the field that you're interested in can really help you with like your further career path.
Yep, exactly. Terus
And
juga, especially if
Michelle
you're still,
Huang also has. Mhm.
yeah, just to add more, especially kalau kayak masih early in your university life, maybe like first year or second year, I would say try everything sih. Tapi kalau kayak udah junior atau senior, it will be harder. Bukannya nggak bisa ya, tapi kayak it will be harder karena biasa kayak when you try to find that last year of internship, they also require that those experience beforehand. Jadi kayak kalau masih kayak early like freshman or sophomore, it will be easier to actually navigate what you like and what you don't like.
Also because like I guess freshmen, they have a little more free time with their like what they want to do, so that will be great for them for their further junior and senior year is what you're saying. Like to try everything, it's like the time now, it's never too late as well.
Exactly.
Michelle Huang also had a question. She asked if she personally already reached out to a recruiter using a personalized message. What advice do you have to ensure like higher chances of them getting back to you or say anything to you?
Okay. Maybe the recruiter that you were reaching out to, maybe you were not reaching out to the right recruiter. For example, if you reach out to a technical recruiter while you're applying for a more business-related jobs, maybe you were not reaching out to the right recruiter, makanya kayak dia nggak balas gitu. I would say we need to understand dia recruiternya bidang apa. Misalkan kayak if you're applying for internships, maybe try to find a university recruiter. I'm gonna show you like how to do it. So for example, if I go to LinkedIn and then I go to a company that I was interning at, I go to Okta, and then you can just go to people, and if you type recruiter right here, you will find there's so many recruiters right now at the company. Jadi kayak ada yang technical, ada yang kayak misalkan untuk GNA, ada yang kayak sales. Jadi kayak ada banyak banget gitu. Jadi kayak if you're reaching out to the wrong recruiter, sometimes mereka udah terlalu banyak kerjaan dan mereka mager kayak buat get back to you gitu loh. Tapi kayak if you reach out to the right person, they're more willing to actually get back to you and actually maybe like pass out your information to the hiring manager. So when I was applying for my internship at Okta, I actually reached out to the right recruiter. So I just typed university recruiter, and then I found that let's see, university recruiter. Okay. Wait, they have so many recruiters right now. They didn't have that many before. Okay, so I reached out to this person named Katie Mason. Jadi dia itu dulu cuman university recruiter doang gitu. Bukan teknologi, bukan yang kayak bagian yang kayak software engineering atau apa yang lain-lainnya. So she used to be the only one. So I reached out to her. I actually sent her an email. This is what I sent to her like last year, and she got back to me. So I sent her an email. Okay, so this is what I sent to her like last year. So after I sent this email, while also applying for the job through the career portal, she actually got back to me and see, could we set up a time to chat next week? So that's what I did. And besides reaching out to the recruiter, I feel like it's also important to reach out to the hiring manager. So I was looking on my LinkedIn, and then I saw that the hiring manager was actually looking for interns. So sometimes, as I mentioned before, people would actually post that her team or his team is actually looking for intern or for new people to join the company. So once I saw that she actually was looking for intern, I reached out to her directly. Wait. So she actually posted about this, looking for an intern to join. So I reach out to her, and then sometimes to find the right email address, biasanya I nebak-nebak sih, kayak biasa kan kalau nggak first dot last name, kalau nggak kayak first initial last name, tapi you can actually go to Google and just type maybe like Okta employee email address format. Ntar kayak bakal muncul gitu biasanya apa. Atau enggak juga kayak bakal banyak kayak website yang bisa tuh, ini kayak ada kan first dot last. Atau enggak bisa juga kayak cek ini emailnya kayak valid atau enggak gitu.
That's great information for everybody who's looking to email their recruiters directly or find their hiring managers directly. So I think that like some great information that they could use. For the people who keep typing questions in the chat, don't forget that you are also free to unmute and ask your own questions. I'll be reading the rest of the questions in the chat, but then after these few, if anybody feels like they want to ask questions directly, not through me, feel free to unmute and ask your own questions. Like Elena, you also had a question. If you want to unmute and ask about it, you can ask about your question, the high school activities and leadership, if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, you can just let me know in the chat and I'll read it out for you.
Yeah, I can see your question actually, Elena. So hi, can I ask if it's still relevant to include high school activities, especially if you have a prior job experience? I would say if you're a freshman or sophomore, it's still okay to include high school experience. Tapi kalau kayak misalkan udah junior atau senior, udah nggak terlalu relevan sih, unless you don't really have that many experience that you can build up for your resume, then it's still okay to include the high school experience. Apalagi kayak kalau high school kayak di Indo, kadang recruiternya kan kayak nggak terlalu ngerti kan, jadi they're not really interested in our resume gitu.
Also, to follow up that question, somebody also asked experiences that are not really related to their major. Is that okay to include in their like resume, or like it's not really related to their field? Do you think it's still relevant to?
Yeah, the same thing. Kalau kayak misalkan nggak ada experience yang lebih relevan yang bisa ditaruh di resume, it's okay to put yang nggak relevan juga di resume, kayak daripada kosong gitu kan. Misalkan you don't really have that work experience, tapi you're doing some part-time jobs on campus sebagai kayak customer service, itu kayak ditaruh aja di resume gitu. It will be valuable to the recruiter when they're looking at your resume too. Kayak besides school, you're also doing this part-time job. Terus kayak maybe pengalamannya you feel that it's not relevant, tapi sometimes you can actually try to twist the bullet points to make it more relevant to the experience that you're applying for. Jadi misalkan kayak okay, cuman kayak jadi barista di Kirkhoff Coffee House, tapi you can actually provide something like maybe you provide the warm customer experience, or you help to manage 60 members. Jadi kayak misalkan pengalamannya tuh bisa di twist supaya lebih relevant to the professional setting gitu. Walaupun kayak kerjanya misalkan cuma on campus atau kayak cuma jadi officer di club, tapi kayak it's something gitu.
Speaking about being an officer in a club, or like maximizing your experiences at UCLA, Valerie has also asked, like, what advice do you have for maximizing your experience in UCLA? We know that it's like a very prestigious university that allows us many connections. Can you have any advice on that, or also share on how you got your 4 internships in 2 years?
In 2 years.
I add, amazing.
Okay, so after that BCG rejection, I was applying for all internships in front of my eyes. Terus kayak there's one company a really small company named Tasmax, located in Venice Beach, who was willing to give me a shot. So after getting that one shot, it really opens so many doors in front of us gitu. Jadi I was really thankful sih kayak gara-gara Tasmax. Jadi kayak bisa punya pengalaman lebih lagi di sini kayak US job experience yang akhirnya kayak bisa bikin bikin aku buat dapat pengalaman lebih lagi di Okta buat summernya gitu kan. Jadi kayak setelah punya pengalaman Tasmax itu di resume, I was actually getting more interviews. Jadi kayak tadinya kan my first resume kan I didn't really have that US job experience kan. That's why I always tell like my friends, especially like my juniors, to really find that US job internship experience kalau bisa, just because the recruiters will value that more compared to like Indonesian internship experience gitu. Bukannya yang di Indo nggak relevan atau nggak di value ya, cuman kayak kalau ada yang di US, even though it's a really small company, tapi itu kayak lumayan di value banget gitu. Apalagi kayak you can actually provide your impacts to the company gitu kan. Karena kan kalau kayak smaller internship sites, kadang kayak you'll get tons of more responsibilities dan juga you can actually make bigger impacts daripada di bigger company gitu. Jadi yeah, I would say jangan terlalu picky sih kalau kayak awal-awal, kalau kayak emang belum ada pengalaman banyak, it's okay to actually accept a job offer from a really small company in the US gitu. Even though it's unpaid juga ya. Kayak I was lucky yang Tasmax itu kayak paid walaupun cuma kayak $12 per hour, tapi ya lumayan buat bayar busnya gitu kan. Cuman even though it's unpaid, kayak it's okay to actually accept that offer karena kayak from that small step, you will actually lead to bigger steps in the future gitu.
Yeah, that sounds great. Obviously, we're all looking to add more experiences onto our resume. Did you do anything specific to maximize your experience in UCLA or at your university?
Okay, jadi when I was during my first quarter at UCLA, it was so overwhelming karena kayak semua orang, apalagi yang junior, udah kayak siap buat recruiting gitu kan, udah siap buat coming to the info session. Sedangkan me myself coming from Diablo Valley College, kayak dulu kan cuma main-main doang kan, kayak 2 tahun di college gitu kan. Jadi apa ya? I would say what I did was actually trying to really understand what I want, trying to really understand my goals. Jadi kalau misalkan di saat teman-teman yang lain kayak masih main-main atau kayak masih cuma fokus belajar doang, I was actually focusing on something else gitu. Kayak it's always been my dream to land an internship here in the US. Jadi I was so persistent in getting that job in the US. Jadi kayak I even didn't apply for summer courses for summer 2019. Jadi bukannya kepedean sih, tapi kayak apa ya? Really having that goal and really want to achieve it. I would say that really drives me up until now gitu, kayak to actually make it here in the US gitu sih. Terus ya besides that, ya itu sih kayak utilize LinkedIn, terus juga lihat kayak oh UCLA kayak ada program yang tadi UCLA One, UCLA Alumni, and you can actually find a mentor. Atau kayak dulu juga I remember there was a program called Garuda Bisa. Jadi kayak it connects you with other Indonesian professionals who are making it here in the US. So I had a mentor named Rachel. She works at Google and she actually helped me a lot in navigating the US job market at that time. Jadi be open to resources aja sih, kayak be resourceful gitu.
Be resourceful, definitely. If your university has lots of resources, one should definitely take advantage of it. Thank you so much for your answer on that. Devana actually has a more specific question. If she would like to unmute herself and ask it, she can. Your question was about learning specific programming languages in consulting. Devana, if you're not shy, you can ask it. You can unmute yourself and ask it if you want. If not, then I can just read it out for you.
I can see it too. No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So to answer your
she
question, she wants to talk. Okay.
no, continue. No, she
Okay.
said she's too shy to answer.
Okay. Yeah. Kayak these days, apalagi kayak for all the jobs, mereka bukan require sih, tapi kayak recommend kalau kita punya kayak some programming language like Python atau kayak SQL juga, SQL juga. Jadi kalau you can start early to actually master those like programming languages, that will be really beneficial to you. Just because like these days emang kerjaannya banyak pakai programming sih. Kayak even though it's not too high level, tapi for operations or consulting or finance jobs, it will be really beneficial if you have that skills on your resume. Kayak misalkan you took some online courses or you took some certifications to actually master those programming languages. Yeah, I would say like Python, SQL, and also R itu lumayan berguna sih buat kayak data processing gitu.
Very important information for anybody in that field. Oh, continue.
I'm sorry. I actually have a follow-up question regarding to my previous question. So I've actually been looking for free Python classes, right? And then I found one on LinkedIn Learning.
LinkedIn Learning?
Yeah, but like I think we have to pay monthly if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So like, do you have any other recommendation for us to actually learn Python? Because I think because I was actually from the IBSA and I'm actually going to transfer to UC Irvine, but I got waitlisted by UCLA, so I'm not sure whether I'm gonna get in or not. So like I'm actually from the IBSA and I've seen that the IBSA actually offered a Python class, a Python programming classes, but like I feel like it's kind of too late for me to go back to the IBSA because I'm no longer attending that school. So like, do you have any other recommendation for us to learn any programming languages for free? Thank you.
For free, I don't think so sih. Kayak LinkedIn Learning itu, if you have that LinkedIn Premium membership, you can actually have the access to all the LinkedIn Learning courses. Ataukah you can actually buy it individually per course gitu. Tapi kalau misalkan itu terlalu mahal, I think Udemy used to have discounted prices for all the classes. Jadi kayak misalkan you only need to pay maybe like $7 or $8 for the class gitu. Cuman kalau yang kayak free, to be honest, I don't know sih. Maybe ask your friend to actually teach you how to do it, I guess.
Thank you, Michelle, thank you, Davina, for your participation. We really like having other people ask out their questions and follow up on their own time to make sure that I don't personally butcher it or interpret it wrongly. We also have another question, a follow-up question actually from Michelle Huang. Before, she was talking about, she's the one who asked the question about trying to get a response from the right recruiter. And she also asked that she mentioned that she's already reached out to the right recruiter that is specifically hiring in the division and location that she's interested in. So like, what other advice do you have for that? Like she's already made sure that everything is what she wants, the location she's interested in, and I guess she really wants this position. So what would you say to that?
Okay. Sometimes maybe the recruiter, he or she was too busy to reply to the message. Jadi kayak misalkan dia nggak punya waktu atau dia lupa buat bales. It's okay to actually send a second or third follow-up message or email. Cuman kalau kayak after that second or third follow-up email atau messages dia masih nggak balas, I would say just move on sih. Maybe kayak try to find another recruiter that can help you, or just try to find a person with the same role that can actually refer you for the position. Soalnya, in my opinion, daripada reach out to a recruiter, I feel that it's better to actually reach out to people who have the same roles or the similar roles that you're applying for. Karena begitu mereka mau refer, kayak it really helps your candidacy to actually get the foot in the door and get the interview daripada kayak reach out to the recruiter doang gitu. Atau even the hiring manager aja sekalian daripada kayak cuman ke recruiter doang gitu sih.
That's great. Everybody has so many interesting questions. If you guys still have any more questions to ask, and thank you so much for you guys trying to help each other in the chat as well. So it's great to see people like helping each other out. Like Richard has mentioned before, like there are so many people that are actually willing to help you out. And that goes for what you said, like looking for jobs as well. Like you mentioned, like and stuff like that. There are actually people out there willing to help each other. And with that being said, we also have another question. And Gary asks, do you as companies look for someone who is fresh graduated with no internet at all, or someone with more experience and skills during college? And I think you've addressed this question quite before, like about how people are looking kind of for both, like a lot of skills and a lot of experiences as well. But I think you also mentioned like you can make the most out of your skills by making different experiences for yourselves and stuff like that. And would you like to add to that, or?
Yeah, to answer Gary's question, it's obvious, of course, the second one. Like they look for someone who have more experiences or skills during college. Apalagi kayak sekarang, kayak during the pandemic, even myself, it's really hard for me to actually secure a job gitu. Jadi kayak I imagine if you don't have like any experience during college, like you just study 24/7, you really have that high GPA, tapi you don't have any experience, especially for engineering students, misalkan kayak you don't have any projects on your resume, it will be really hard too, gitu. Jadi kayak kalau bisa make it balance, high GPA, tapi juga banyak pengalaman, that will be much better sih, dibandingkan cuman kayak, okay, fresh grad, tapi nggak ada pengalaman sama sekali, gitu. Karena kayak company lebih mau orang yang well-rounded daripada cuman yang kayak misalkan 4.0 GPA tapi the resume is actually blank gitu.
Yes, that's completely true. And speaking about your resumes and stuff like that, one of our very own, Brian, has a question. If you like to unmute yourself and ask it yourself, maybe.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
I really enjoyed your presentation. It was very helpful and resourceful.
Thank you.
I just want to ask a question is pertaining to the minute differences between a LinkedIn profile and a resume. So like, you know how you talked about like the action verbs and the phrases that you put in your resume? Is it enough for us to simply copy and paste it to our LinkedIn profile, or are there any slight or minute adjustments that we have to make?
In terms of responsibilities, atau kayak job description, it's okay kayak to make it the same. Atau malah kalau bisa kayak yang di LinkedIn gak usah terlalu kayak spesifik gitu, supaya kayak orang ada kayak curiosity to actually interview you for the job gitu kan, atau kayak to make you apply for the job. Tapi I would say kayak LinkedIn kan lebih kayak social media kan, so if you're actually brave enough to start posting on LinkedIn and actually engaging with people, that would be more helpful sih. Kayak soalnya kan resume kan kayak it's only one piece of paper, only one page kan. Sedangkan LinkedIn kan kayak Instagram profile gitu, kayak it's our portfolio gitu kan. Jadi kalau kayak you can actually make people engage and attracted with your profile, itu bakal lebih bantu banget sih.
Okay, and
gitu.
Is it a good idea to put our resume on our LinkedIn profile, or is that something that we have to keep private? Like, I'm kind of confused.
It's actually your preference, but I don't like to put it on my profile.
Yeah.
Kayak misalkan kayak kalau misalkan kayak emang dia penasaran, ya he or she will contact you directly for the resume kan.
Yeah.
Gitu. Cuman it's preference sih. Kayak it's up to you.
Okay. I think my friend Winston also has a question. Winston, you want to?
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question. It's actually continuing what Jerry asked. So let's say if a student has less experience, how could they distinguish themselves during job experience? Let's say just fresh graduated with no internship experience at all.
The only one, networking sih. Kayak if you have that network that they're just willing to help you out, it will be really beneficial gitu. Kayak banyak orang yang punya pengalamannya, like they have all the experience, but they don't actually reach out to people. They only apply on the career portal. Tapi kayak if you really have that drive and you're brave enough to actually reach out to people and do the networking, people will remember your personality and willing to refer you for the position gitu sih. Jadi kayak if you can have all of the complete package, misalkan punya pengalamannya and then punya nilainya juga and have the networking part also, it will be a whole complete package. Tapi kalau kayak nggak punya, at least you're doing the networking part. Jadi kayak misalkan orang-orang kayak bakal tetap ingat when they have like a new job posted, they can actually reach out to you again. Gitu sih.
So basically reaching out
to people, yeah, and also do your individual projects as well.
Okay. I have also another question. You said let's say from your personal experience for consulting, 3.5 GPA is basically the minimum for
the cut.
For employers to give a job interview. And so if you have lower, you said you didn't have to put up the GPA on the resume. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so kalau kayak misalkan buat finance atau buat consulting, kalau nggak 3.5, it will be so hard to get the interview. But if you do the networking part, maybe that would help. But I'm not so sure because I'm not recruiting in that field anymore. But from my experience di UCLA, dulu kayak my second quarter, I was really hit so hard. Jadi kayak my GPA was so low. It was only like 3.1 or something. So I removed my GPA, even though like it's still above 3.0. Tapi kayak I just remove it. And also at the same time, most tech companies nggak gitu lihat GPA sih. Tapi kayak it really depends on the industry juga. Kayak I have a friend in Berkeley yang nggak include GPA-nya, padahal GPA-nya kayak lumayan tinggi, kayak 3.5 above. Tapi kayak he put all of the projects, all the internship experience, and he actually got an offer from Uber, and then from Intuit, and also from Bloomberg gitu. Jadi kayak it really depends on the industry that you're actually looking into. Gitu.
Okay, lastly, just a little bit. So you're saying it's depending on the industries, right? So I'm a communication major, so I wouldn't be applying to a finance job. Where do you get that kind of information, like approximately the cutout GPA number, the GPA value, or like do you have any tips for other majors so they can understand like whether they should put up their GPA on their resume or not? Or based on your personal experience, where do you get it from?
Yep. Based on my personal experience, I just heard it from people sih. Kayak misalkan di networking event atau kayak di career center, even they say that kalau kayak GPA-nya di bawah 3.0, you shouldn't include on your resume. Terus, ya iya sih, kayak denger-denger dari orang doang sih biasanya. Tapi kalau kayak yang consulting gitu, yang kayak consulting finance 3.5, itu kayak lumayan apa ya, kayak general knowledge sih. Kayak people in the industry kayak emang tahu, kayak that's the cut gitu. Kayak buat dapetin interview gitu.
So again, be resourceful, reaching out. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Richard. Maybe
you're welcome.
The moderator definitely will continue again with the upcoming questions.
Thank you for that. That was like a very titillating discussion. So we only have time for about 3 to 4 more questions. We have one question again from Michelle Huang. She was asking what Consulting is.
Okay.
Is it actually a group that you can be a part of, or she's kind of curious?
Yeah, happy to explain that. So actually, a guy named Jonathan Javier, he said that he was an underdog turned into winners. So he was actually a UCR student, UC Riverside. Kayak it's not a really good school as we know. Makanya kayak it was so hard for him to get a job. Terus kayak he break the mold, kayak he really did above and beyond to actually get the internships. Jadi misalkan kayak kalau misalkan you're applying for the job and you're interviewing for the job, sometimes you can actually also make like a slide deck and give some recommendations. Padahal kayak the recruiter or the hiring manager didn't ask you to do so gitu kan. So like that's what he did, and he actually made the community name Consulting on LinkedIn and on Instagram too, I guess. And I used to watch all of their LinkedIn lives. Jadi kayak dulu mereka bikin kayak LinkedIn lives kayak tiap minggu kayak they invite like guest speakers and to really give you the knowledge about like how to reach out to people, like how to be brave, how to reach out to the right people. So that's what he did. That's what he initiated. And in terms of joining the group, I believe you can go to LinkedIn and just type consulting, and you can follow their page. And they also have a group named International Turn into Underdogs. Let me find a group for you guys if you guys want to join. But yeah, that's basically what consulting is.
Also, just to mention, Richard put all his contact information inside the chat if you guys would like to hit him up with any other questions, I believe, or if you want to connect with him and stuff like that. His information is down below in the chat. He put in his LinkedIn profile, so you guys can check that out as well.
Feel free to LinkedIn message me or DM me on Instagram, or also personal chat on WhatsApp too.
We kind of have a very specific question over here. Rebecca asked, if a recruiter just randomly messaged you on LinkedIn, is there a possibility that you might be scammed? Like, did you ever have this kind of experience before? Like, did you ever reach out to a recruiter that tried to recruit you?
Sometimes it can be scam too sih. Kayak scam sih enggak, cuma mungkin kayak that's not the job that you're looking for, bisa juga. Tapi sometimes can be scam juga, soalnya kayak banyak orang yang kayak utilize LinkedIn tapi buat actually kayak harass people atau buat kayak do some sexual assault gitu kan. Jadi just be very careful aja sih, especially for girls. Jadi kayak hati-hati aja sih, ya. Kadang kayak bisa scam juga. Bisa kayak misalkan kayak minta nomor WhatsApp atau apa. Yang penting kayak kita kayak be mindful sama be responsible of our own safety juga gitu. Kayak lihat misalkan profilnya kira-kira legit atau enggak. Kalau kayak enggak legit, kayak ya gak usah dibales gitu. Didiemin aja.
Okay, and that's on taking care of each other, you guys.
Yep.
Always be sure about the people that you want to work with, and if you feel something shady, do not contact them any further. Moving on.
Just block them.
Another question. Just block them. Another question is, how did you manage to maintain strong relationships with the people you have on LinkedIn? Since somebody checked out your profile and you have above more than 500 plus connections.
I even have like more than 5,000 connections actually. So how to actually manage strong relationships? I would say nggak mungkin bisa engage sama semuanya sih, kayak that's for sure. Tapi maybe you can actually engage and keep in touch with some people that you feel would be beneficial to you in the future. Tapi juga jangan terlalu yang kayak apa ya, jangan terlalu yang kayak demanding, sama jangan terlalu yang kayak pushy juga sama mereka. Karena kan kayak they have their own life, atau kan sometimes people can feel that you're disturbing them. So I would say kayak you'll figure it out sih. Kayak you can see people yang benar-benar emang pengen engage with you guys, some people yang kayak ya udah kayak emang cuma gitu doang di LinkedIn gitu. So I would say really trying to understand their characteristic. So I would say from consulting experience myself, kayak banyak akhirnya orang-orang yang kayak jadi kenal, including Jonathan and Jerry, and then also like some of the students from other schools, yang akhirnya kayak kita jadi saling follow-followan di Instagram, kayak saling kontak, kayak saling support juga gitu. So I would say ya lihat orangnya juga sih, kayak kira-kira dia mau engage gak atau kayak cuman ya udah gitu doang gitu.
Also, our very own president has a question. Thank you so much for your insight on that question as well. It's very hard to maintain like those relationships online, and people are really wondering about that.
Hi, Richard.
Our president also has a specific.
Hi, Val.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing to all of us. I actually have a question. So since like you only have limited time in UCLA, right? It's only 2 years, and some of us or some of us have more. But the thing is like, do you recommend us to like have more experiences outside of class, or like if we have the time, is it more beneficial for us to like either declare a minor or declare a double major, or is it more on like getting more internships or getting into clubs? Just your opinion about this.
Okay, so this is my personal opinion ya, kayak nggak tentu benar, but in my opinion, it will be really beneficial kalau bisa dapat tiga-tiganya. Kayak you can do the minor, you can do the internship, but you can also get like some positions for student clubs on campus. Cuman kalau bisa pilih, I would say getting the experience outside of the classroom for internship, and also having that positions for leadership position di student clubs would be more helpful compared to the minor. But that's my personal opinion. Gitu sih. Soalnya kayak minor ya kayak ya udah gitu, kayak apalagi these days banyak banget kayak online courses yang bisa bantu kayak mark up that minor gitu kan. Kayak even though misalkan kayak I nggak punya entrepreneurship minor atau accounting minor, paling kayak ya udah paling nggak terlalu banyak ruginya gitu. Tapi kalau kayak I didn't have that internship experience, I would imagine it would be so hard for me right now to actually get the interviews itself, gitu sih. But that's
Okay.
my personal opinion. Kayak people kan kayak have their own preference juga kan. Kayak sometimes people just want to pursue like their academic more than the professional. Like it's totally okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for your advice.
Yep.
And we have our last question. This is the very last question. If you guys have any more questions, you can reach out to Richard yourself. He has put all his information in the Zoom chat below for you guys to scroll up and see. Alan asked, prior to writing your resume, did you use a resource like a resume template that you found online, or did you try and make one by yourself from scratch?
Okay. I actually make it from scratch sih. Tapi kayak buat lihat kayak template-nya, I go online and see what's needed to be on the resume. Cuman you can always go online and actually edit the template juga. Kayak it doesn't really matter sih, I would say. Okay, it's totally fine to actually use a template from online sources. Tapi kayak if you want to make it from scratch, kayak it's okay. Yang penting jangan terlalu kayak, especially if you're not majoring in design and if you're not applying for design jobs, kayak jangan terlalu yang kayak berwarna atau kayak gimana gitu. Kayak just make it simple, clear, and easy to read. Gitu aja sih. Kayak spacingnya kayak semuanya diatur aja supaya kayak recruiter kayak gampang liatnya. Gitu.
To follow up on that, some people ask like, do you have any preferences, or like what software would you recommend, or like what did you use to make your resume?
Okay, so I just use Google Docs to make my resume. I know sometimes people use Microsoft Word as well. Those two softwares are fine.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for such a valuable Q&A session. We really value your insight here, and we are really honored to have you as our guest speaker today. We wanted to ask if you have any like last parting words or any last tips of advice for everybody out there who's in this chat. Do you have any parting words?
So my last word would be, especially for UCLA students, UCLA is a really good school. I remember my previous manager and my previous coworker at Okta told me that UCLA is a really good school. So we really have that advantage to apply for jobs. Like it's actually a target school. Jadi kayak jangan sia-siain itu, don't waste that. Terus apa ya? I never see myself competing with other international students or like other Indonesians sih. Kayak I always see myself competing with Americans. Jadi kayak when I'm applying for jobs, I always aim big and actually have that dream. Jadi kayak apa ya? Kayak I always keep improving myself supaya kayak bisa selevel sama mereka dan nunjukin kalau kayak walaupun kayak international students kayak kita nggak kalah sama mereka gitu. Karena kalau kayak kita lihat kita kayak oh ya udah kayak cuma international student, kita cuma mau short term di sini, kita kan jadi kayak apply jobnya kayak misalkan yang biasa-biasa aja, kita kayak nggak terlalu niat. Tapi kalau kayak if you really aim high, I would say they will actually pump you up to actually do better every single day. and keep improving. Gitu sih.
Thank you so much for those parting words. Everybody, like, round of applause. Thank you so much to our honored guest today. Also, Richard again has put his contact information below for any more follow-up questions. He's mentioned that he's free for a DM, or if you want to check out his LinkedIn, shoot him a message. He's free to do so, and he'll be happy to answer your questions over there. Also tomorrow, don't forget, we also have our continuing event, which is our graduate school preparation and career panel talk. Over there, we'll be talking more about professional work experiences and how previous students are now going about in the professional world. So if you guys are really interested in that, you guys can RSVP. And if you've already have, then we'll be sending the link very soon. And before you guys leave, can we take one more picture